do not move to Austin, Texas unless you can handle these 5 things. Austin, Texas is one of the most moved to cities in the past few years. During the pandemic, where everybody started working from home, people from San Francisco in California and the West Coast, and New York, Boston from the East Coast, all decided to migrate here to Austin, Texas. So today, as an Austinite who has been here for almost a decade, I'm gonna tell you 5 things about Austin that's so unbearable and you have to know before you move here. And be sure to stick around for item number 4 because that almost made me want to move out of Austin. If this is your first time here, my name is William Zhang. I'm a real estate agent here in Austin, Texas. In this channel, I talk about all things Austin living, Austin real estate, and Austin in general. If you're interested in content like this, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Just a free like, tap it. I really appreciate that. And if you're looking to buy or sell homes here in Austin, be sure to reach out to me using this number right here. Thank you very much. And let's get on to item number 1 on the list, and that is the climate. The climate in Austin is unbearable. And I know some of you who are looking to move to Austin or move to Texas in general probably thought about moving to Houston or moving to Austin or moving to Dallas. And I can tell you, as someone who grew up in Houston and worked in Dallas for a year before settling down here in Austin because I went to college here, I can tell you the climate or the weather in these 3 cities are basically the same. There's only 2.5-hour drive between Austin and Houston, and there's about 4-hour drive between the Austin, Houston city to the Dallas metropolitan area. So if anything, maybe Dallas is a bit cooler during the summer and a bit colder during the winter, but realistically, they are all pretty much the same. And for all these major cities, one thing that's so unbearable to me is the summer heat. This past year in 2023, Austin just broke the city record of having 45 consecutive days of having weather temperature above 100 degrees. For someone like me who grew up basically in the South, when the weather is 100 degrees outside, I can barely stay outside for more than 30 minutes. And anything longer than that, I have to come back inside, cool down, drink tons of water, else I might just experience heat stroke. Now, 2023 was a special case of having so many days above 100 degrees, but typically for a Texas Austin summer, you will have at least or average about 65 days above 100 degrees. And that doesn't include days that are in the 99s and 98s, the high 90s. Overall, you can basically imagine by end of April, beginning of May, that's the weather in Texas, in Austin will start heating up and doesn't really cool down until maybe by the end of September if we're lucky. And especially during the months from June to September, it's basically unbearable Texas heat. So in total, about 3 to 5 months of the year, most people try to stay indoor, crank up the AC, and that sounds to me is something that's totally unbearable. And not only the Texas heat is so unbearable during the summer, during the winter time, we might experience freezing temperature. And the worst thing about having freezing temperature here in Texas is that we're just underprepared and unprepared for situations like that. If you remember in 2021, during the Texas blackout, Texas temperature dropped rapidly and it started raining, creating lots of snow, a lot of icy environment. So a lot of the generator that uses solar, that uses natural gas pipeline, that uses windmill, went out of power. And that caused a decrease in supply of electricity here in Texas. At the same time, the demand of electricity was picking up because it was so cold outside. So ERCOT, which basically is in charge of energy for the entire state of Texas, decided to have rolling blackout for the entire state, Austin included. Me, myself, I was living in this tiny apartment in Northwest Austin. My power went out for about a week and a half. I put on everything that I had in my closet and I covered myself with all the blankets, all of the covers, and I was still freezing to death. So basically the next day I had to wake up, pack everything, got into my little car, drive on the highway that's full of snow and driving 35 miles per hour in a 75 mile per hour highway to my friend's apartment in downtown Austin where they own the grid that powers the city. And only that way could I have survived that Texas winter cold. So the number one thing that you have to consider before moving to Austin is its climate. All right, let's talk about item number 2, and that is we have poor city infrastructure. Austin as the metropolitan area is relatively small compared to Houston and Dallas, but Austin as the metropolitan area actually experienced the highest growth in population growth for the past few years here in Texas. And if you ever lived in a city like Chicago, New York, San Francisco, you will realize how much better of an infrastructure those cities have compared to Austin. And let's dive into some details. For example, in San Francisco, there is a light rail, there is things like BART, public buses, transportation systems that allowed individuals living in San Francisco to get around conveniently. If I remember correctly, San Francisco has, I think, 7 light rail tracks that people can just get on and ride across the city. Compared to San Francisco, which have 7 light rails, guess how many we have here in Austin? We have 1 light rail for an entire city of about 224 million people. That's ridiculous. And I'll share with you some of my personal experience about the public transportation systems here in Austin, Texas. Never have I ever gotten onto a light rail here in Austin because the reputation is just very bad. For the locals, we don't ride it. We'd rather Uber around and drive around than to take on one of those public rail systems. And way back in college with my roommates and I didn't have a car, and we wanted to go off campus to enjoy ourselves into a grocery store or something, we'll ride a bus that takes us from the campus area to somewhere in near a grocery store. And usually a rail like that, if I had a car, will take me maybe 20 minutes. But if I rode the bus, it would take me about 40 minutes. And that basically shows you how poor our public transportation infrastructure is. And there's a reason behind that. Austin as a city wasn't intended or did not really anticipate a lot of growth in its population. And for the past couple decades, Austin experienced a huge amount of population growth. For example, in 2000, the Austin population is around 900,000 people. And in 2024 today, we have around 2.24 million people. That's more than double, almost triple our population just in 24 years. And at this stage, with this large amount of population, you can already experience the downside of having poor city planning and poor city infrastructure. And being so car dependent due to the poor public transportation infrastructure, Austin as a city basically created another unbearable thing for Austinites, and that is the local traffic. And basically Austin has 3 major roads, and the first one is I-35. And being an interstate road, it takes people from San Antonio to Austin to Dallas, creating this path for people who are going through these cities. And I-35 takes care of eastern side of the Austin metropolitan area's traffic as well. And as you can imagine, during rush hour, people will try to get home from work or get to work from home, along with other people who want to travel from San Antonio to Austin or to Dallas, and the same way around. That creates a lot of traffic. And I-35 is one of the major roads that takes care of the north and southbound of the eastern side of the city. And another road that we have is the Mopac Highway, which basically takes care of the western side, northwestern side of the Austin metropolitan area that takes people from north to south and south to north. And on this route, there are major employers like Apple, Google, Meta in downtown area, IBM. So we can imagine during rush hour how many people have to get on this road to get to work. And to take care of the traffic going from west to east and east to west, you have the US 183, which takes care of traffic going from northwest Austin to southeast Austin. And because you can see there are 2 parallel roads and 1 perpendicular road, you can imagine the intersections between 183 and Mopac and 183 and I-35. All of the traffic going at the same time during rush hour. It's basically a nightmare situation. But I do have to say the Austin City Council already made plans to expand the public transportation infrastructure and improve Austin as a city for major population growth. The CAP metro system is expecting to expand from 1 light rail for the entire city to about 4 in the future. Basically, this will cover the entire satellite cities of Austin and the Austin proper area. They'll also expand bus routes and more frequent runs, try to encourage more people to take public transportation system. At the same time, there are talks on I-35 expansion, basically extending number of lanes on I-35 and creating an HOV, high occupant vehicle lane, that's designated for people taking multiple people to get across the city. Now, I'm not saying it's all gonna work out as intended, but I do have high hopes. And if you want to move to Austin, you really have to take this under consideration. All right, item number 3. Item number 3 on the list is interesting because this is somewhat of a personal opinion, which is the culture of Austin. It's very, very different compared to what people might expect. As someone who lived in Houston, someone who lived in Dallas, and someone who lived in Austin and decided to settle down in Austin for almost a decade now, I can tell you straight up, Austin just have a different energy, a different vibe. There's a reason the indie bands like to start their music career journey here in Austin, because we are the live music capital of the world. And there is a slogan of keep Austin weird, which means that all sorts of weird folks come to Austin. I say that lovingly, of course. We have a lot more content creators in the area who see Austin as a place to launch their content creation career instead of Los Angeles. I personally love seeing great YouTubers here in Austin and see them using our city's skyline as the backdrop, using our city as a place to create wonderful work. And I look forward to having more creators here in the city. And because of Joe Rogan, Austin is slowly becoming the mecca of stand-up comedy. We have a lot of aspiring comics, aspiring stand-up comedians come to Austin to launch their comedy career as well. And on top of that, we already have a pretty established tech scene that's growing every single day. We got startup founders, VCs, angel investors who are lovingly investing in the community, investing in companies in the area. Part of the reason is because University of Texas at Austin, which has a tremendous supply of talented folks in engineers, in scientists, in business folks. Me, myself, is an UT alum, Hook'em Horns, and I just cannot tell you how much I love the city, the energy that it gives off, which is very, very different compared to Houston and compared to Dallas. And that vibe might not be for everyone. Some people might just enjoy staying inside and not really explore the outside, the outdoors. And to me, in my opinion, if you don't take advantage of all the things that Austin can provide, Austin might not be the best fit for you. And so be sure to keep that in mind before you move here to Austin, Texas. All right, now we get to item number 4 on the list, and this one frustrates me the most. And that is the rising cost of living is almost becoming unbearable. As someone who came here in 2014 to attend college, I used to go outside on campus or off campus into this pho restaurant that's on Guadalupe Street, and they charged me maybe $7, $6.75 for a large bowl of pho. And the last time I went in 2024, guess how much the price has gone up? I think they were charging me around $12.75, $13 for a bowl of the same pho that I had throughout my college career. That's almost a 100% increase. And one major thing that contributes to the cost of living rising, which is rent and home prices. When I first got to Austin for college in 2014, home prices was around $210,000. And today, the median home prices in the area is $420,000, a 100% increase in 10 years. And I keep kicking myself for not having enough money to buy a house in 2014. And by the way, I did make an Austin investment guide that goes over the return on investment, the increase in rent, about investing in Austin as a place, as a city. If you're interested, be sure to click a link down below. I'll link it in the description box. I'll also link that video at the end of this video so you can take a look there as well. But basically, the cost of living rising frustrated me the most, and I almost thought about moving to Houston to stay with my parents for a bit before coming back. But at the end, I decided to stay because I just really love the energy here in Austin. All right, finish with item number 4. Let's talk about one final thing that's something that you have to think about before moving here to Austin, and that is the political system, the political belief system that we have here in Austin. So on this channel, I want to be transparent and I want to be honest with you. This is what I want to do as a content creator, where I share real value and true opinions of how I feel about the city. And with that topic, Austin is the capital of Texas, and Texas is more of a conservative state. Being in more of a red state, which means that the values that people have in Texas might be a little different compared to people who are from California. But at the same time, Austin as a city, along with Houston and Dallas and other major metropolitan areas in Austin or in Texas, have more of a left meaning of a blue state mentality. So basically, there is a combination of belief here in Austin with People who wanted to have a more liberal, more left-leaning belief system, political belief system, moved to Austin, but they have to experience the Texas as a state's belief system instilled into the city, and they find that unbearable. At the same time, there are people who might have more conservative beliefs and they come to a liberal-leaning city like Austin, and they experience that the people here might not have the same political belief and mindset as they do, and they find that conflicting. So basically, you got two groups of people expecting one thing from each other, and then they collapse at the middle, and then they see this might not be what I wanted. So at the end of the day, if you want to move to Austin, you have to consider the Texas as a state's political system and how that might affect you. At the same time, the liberal tendencies of Austin as a city and the people who live here who might enjoy more of a liberal mindset. So those are part of the things that you need to consider, because I think that actually does impact your day-to-day life as an individual who live here in Austin, Texas. And it's something that you should consider before moving here. And that's it. After hearing about those 5 things, and you still want to move to Austin, you still want to explore this beautiful, this energetic, vibrant city, be sure to reach out to me and I can help you find a place to stay here in Austin, Texas using this number. And if you enjoy the content, please like this video. I really appreciate you. Until then, see you next time.